From bars to bosses, true stories of inmates controlling crime outside. The moment everything exploded came at 10:45 p.m. in a quiet South Carolina neighborhood. A man's phone buzzed with a short message, "Pay now or else." Seconds later, masked men stormed in, dragged the man into the alley, tied his hands, forced him to empty his wallet. All because someone inside a prison cell had ordered it. Behind razor wire, inside the walls of South Carolina Department of Corrections, an inmate sat in his cell. He held a smuggled cell phone, pressed a number. With a calm voice, he told his gang on the outside, "We hit him tonight. Use the safe house. Watch the cameras." Within minutes, the outside team was moving. The inmate smiled. He knew the rules of the yard. He had corrupted a guard. He had hidden the phone in the laundry. From that cell, he controlled a network. Drug shipments, guns, threats, witness intimidation, all without ever stepping outside. He could monitor payments through prepaid cards. He could freeze someone's bank transfer. He could order violence and walk back to his bunk. The prison walls were supposed to stop him. They didn't. This gripping moment shows the chilling truth. Even incarcerated, some prisoners still hold real power. And that raises a question. How did this happen? How did someone behind bars build a criminal empire? How did the system allow it? What will happen next? Stay with us as the story unfolds. After that shocking incident, we step back in time to see how it all began. It started in the early 2010s with a quiet man named Daniel Shannon serving a life sentence for murder. While other inmates kept their heads down hoping for parole, Shannon did the opposite. He used contraband phones to reach outside contact. He built a network of drug runners, debt collectors, and corrupt staff. He used the phone to send messages to his associates, move the product, take out the witness, wire the money. In later investigations, prosecutors found he used his prison cell as the command center for a large methamphetamine ring. Live now. By 2017, federal agents were watching. They found that Shannon's crew had smuggled dozens of cell phones into the prison, made thousands of calls, and directed murders and kidnappings outside. For example, they say Shannon ordered the killing of a man he believed stole from one of his couriers. The victim was shot, the house burned, and the body dumped miles away. Live now, +1.
Meanwhile, in California, the notorious gang Aryan Brotherhood was acting the same way. Two inmates, Ronald Yandel and Billy Sylvester, were found guilty of directing murders and drug trafficking while locked inside a cell at California State Prison, Sacramento. Using smuggled-in cell phones, they ran heroin and meth operations, recruited members, ordered hits. The Department of Justice. Back in South Carolina, the gang run from prison was called the Insane Gangster Disciples. 4 inmates inside state facilities were accused of orchestrating a sprawling racketeering conspiracy, drug trafficking, firearms, kidnappings. They indicted 40 people. The network used contraband cell phones to keep the enterprise alive behind bars. CBS News. These examples show how the boundary between behind bars and on the outside has broken down. Prisons are supposed to isolate criminals from society. But in these real cases, the inmates expanded their empires while confined. They exploited legal loopholes and corrupt staff, leveraged contraband phones, and found ways to launder money. We see how an inmate, considered locked away, still holds sway over people free in society. He hires associates, threatens witnesses, orders violence, hides money through prepaid cards. The crimes aren't just inside the cell, they ripple out into the community, making prison less about separation and more about remote management of crime. Imagine the guards walking past that cell, unaware that the man inside is issuing orders for a murder on the outside. Imagine a family being threatened because someone inside the yard demands payment for protection via a phone call. the scary truth: being behind bars did not stop them. And yet, it all built up quietly. At first, a contraband phone here, a corrupted guard there, a weak monitoring system. Then a small drug shipment, then payment demands, then threats, then murders. And when investigators cracked it, they found money flows, safe houses, coded messages, network lists, all emanating from prison cells. In the background lies the question: why did the system allow it to happen? Why were so many phones smuggled in? Why were staff turned? How did the communication flow so freely? That's part of what this story reveals. Not just the criminal's power, but the system's failure. Now, as we end this chapter, picture the night of the raid again. The masked men in the alley, the phone buzzing inside the cell, the inmate watching everything unfold. And now, imagine the investigators closing in. What will happen when the walls finally crack? What danger still lies ahead?
The prison went into full lockdown the morning after the attack. Guards shouted orders, doors slammed, and radios crackled with confusion. Inside his cell, Daniel Shannon stayed calm. He knew the raid wasn't about him, at least not yet. He had learned how to hide his tracks. The men who followed his orders were careful, disciplined, and loyal. The phone he used was hidden deep inside a broken vent, wrapped in plastic and duct tape. When the guards swept through, they never found it. From his narrow bunk, Shannon listened to the chaos outside. He smirked. Lockdowns never lasted long. Within a few hours, the prison would return to its usual rhythm, and he'd be back to business. For him, being behind bars was just another office. His employees worked outside the fence, collecting money, moving drugs, intimidating witnesses, and keeping his empire alive. What made Shannon's operation so powerful was control. Every person in his circle owed him something. Some owed him money, others owed him protection. Even a few guards feared him. One officer, known later in court documents as Officer M, was caught sneaking in SIM cards and chargers. Another supplied prepaid debit cards that allowed Shannon's network to move cash without detection. For a few $100s a week, corrupt staff helped keep his business alive. The truth is, Shannon's story isn't unique. Across the United States, inmates have turned prison time into business time. In Texas, gang leaders known as shot callers inside the Mexican mafia sent coded letters and phone messages ordering murders hundreds of miles away. In California, Aryan Brotherhood leaders ran a multi-million-dollar drug network using secret notes and smuggled phones. And in Georgia, a federal investigation found that prison employees delivered cell phones hidden in food trays, helping gangs control entire neighborhoods outside. Investigators say Shannon's group was especially dangerous because they mixed technology with fear. They used ordinary apps, text messages, Facebook, and WhatsApp to run their empire. A single text could mean someone's life was in danger. Victims sometimes had no idea the person threatening them wasn't even free. The orders were typed in a dark cell, sent through the internet, and executed by people on the outside who never questioned where the message came from.
But for years, no one could prove it. Whenever an attack happened, the police found no direct link to Shannon himself. Every message was coded, every phone number disposable. One of his most trusted associates, a man named Rico, handled the outside work. Rico was a quiet, careful man who never used his real name. To most people, he was just a construction worker. In reality, he was Shannon's right-hand man, taking calls from inside the prison and passing orders to the rest of the crew. By 2016, the gang's reach had grown beyond South Carolina. Federal investigators began connecting the dots after a surge of violent crimes shared the same pattern. Victims who had no direct conflict but had crossed paths with someone connected to the prison network. The FBI started tracing prepaid cards and burner phones. Bit by bit, a picture began to form, a map of a criminal empire being run from inside prison walls. Agents were shocked by how advanced the system had become. Prisoners had access to smartphones, Wi-Fi, and even encrypted messaging. In some cases, they used the phones to buy cryptocurrency, laundering money through anonymous wallets. One federal report described it as a virtual office of crime inside a correctional facility. Still, Shannon felt untouchable. The walls, the guards, the cameras, none of it scared him. He said, "They can't stop what they can't see," to one inmate who later became a witness. Shannon was confident because he knew the system was weak. Inmates moved freely between cell blocks, and inspections were predictable. Phones could be hidden in hollowed-out books or stuffed inside light fixtures. Then, one small mistake started to bring his empire down. A low-level associate named Marcus tried to collect a debt for Shannon's crew, but instead of following orders quietly, Marcus got greedy. He used Shannon's name to scare a local dealer into paying double. The dealer didn't fall for it. He went straight to the police. When investigators looked into the threat, they found messages linking Marcus's phone to one of Shannon's smuggled numbers. It was the first real traceable clue. Within weeks, the FBI
teamed up with state investigators to dig deeper. They started listening in on prison calls, watching money transfers, and tracking the digital fingerprints of each phone. Bit by bit, they uncovered how messages left the prison, passed through encrypted apps, and led to crimes on the outside. But catching Shannon wasn't easy. Every time investigators got close, someone inside the prison warned him. Corrupt guards tipped him off before each cell search, and every time he learned about a new investigation, another phone disappeared, flushed, burned, or sold. In late 2017, federal agents decided to move. They raided multiple prisons at once, hoping to seize the hidden phones before the inmates could destroy them. Dozens of officers stormed Shannon's cell block, but when they opened his vent, it was empty. The phone was gone. Someone had warned him again. By then, however, the investigators had something stronger than a phone. They had Rico. Caught with stacks of cash and text logs linking him to Shannon, Rico faced decades in prison. When agents offered a deal, he hesitated only a moment. "I'll talk," he said quietly. That moment changed everything. Rico's confession would expose the entire network, from the guards who smuggled the phones to the inmates who controlled street crime. But what Shannon didn't know was that Rico wasn't the only one ready to betray him. The day the empire finally fell started like any other, loud, cold, and ordinary. At 6 a.m., metal doors clanged open across the South Carolina prison. Inmates shuffled out for count, and Daniel Shannon sat on his bunk, calm as ever. He had no idea that outside those walls, dozens of FBI agents, U.S. Marshals, and state investigators were preparing to end his reign once and for all. In a command center miles away, a giant map glowed with pins marking safe houses, drop points, and burner phone signals. After months of tracking calls and tracing prepaid cards, the agents were ready. Every phone, every message, every wire transfer led back to one man, Shannon. The operation's codename was Iron Cell.
In California, Aryan Brotherhood leaders were caught directing murders from high-security cells. In Georgia, prison gangs ordered drive-by shootings using phones smuggled by staff. In Texas, cartel-linked inmates managed drug shipments through encrypted chats. Each case echoed the same story. Walls meant to contain crime had instead become part of it. After Shannon's case, federal and state prisons began installing signal jammers, using phone-sniffing dogs, and rotating guards to prevent corruption. South Carolina became one of the first states to partner with the FCC to block illegal cell phone signals in prisons. But the truth is, the problem hasn't disappeared. For every phone found, another sneaks in. For every gang broken, another rises. In a 2022 Senate hearing, a South Carolina corrections official summed it up best. When you let one phone in, you let a network of crime out. As for Shannon, he now spends 23 hours a day in a solitary cell in a federal supermax facility. No phones, no contact, no power. The man who once commanded an empire with a whisper now has no one left to talk to. But even now,
Guards sometimes find notes passed between inmates, coded messages mentioning D. Some believe that through loyal followers, Shannon's orders still find their way out. Whether true or not, one thing is certain. The story of inmates running crime from behind bars didn't end with his capture. Across the United States, the line between cell and street grows thinner every day. Inmates once stripped of freedom are finding new ways to control money, fear, and people, far beyond the walls meant to contain them. From bars to bosses, these true stories remind us that power doesn't always need freedom, it just needs connection.